Hey, special educators, this is Jennifer from Positively Learning. Thanks so much for stopping in. I wanted to talk about using some basic informal checklists for basic skills or developmental concepts, things that we see every day in the special education classroom setting. Now, right now, we're looking at the screen of a blog post that I just published. To be really honest with you, I don't love it. I will show you what's included. I will put the link in the description. I think there's a really helpful information. You can get a closer look at the images. I talk about some different ways you can use these checklists as an informal assessment tool. I also just go over some of the features of these checklists. However, when I hit publish, I realized I just didn't capture exactly how I would use them, like a reality check. So I thought it would be easier to show rather than tell in writing. And that's what this video is all about. So I will still link this up so you can take a closer look if you're interested or bookmark it for future reference. All right, so what I'm referring to is this set of 42 different checklists, and they are in a wide range of areas. I'll show you the topics in just a moment, but they are in several different formats as well. So I have a format that is just a reference tool. I know as special educators, we're sitting in so many different types of conversations. So it might be sitting in an RTI meeting with gen ed teachers, or it might be at the IEP meeting table, or maybe it's a parent, guardian, family member conference or check in. There's so many different times that we want to pinpoint what's happening with a child, where their areas of strength are, where their areas of concern are. And it's really helpful to have these reference tools. Of course, we have Google. Of course, we have textbooks, but printing out these reference tools, putting them in a binder, whether you have them in sheet protectors, a meeting binder, or a data binder, can be a really helpful tool to guide these conversations. So that's the first way I would use them as a starting place to see what is happening, what is a student doing well, and what area to support in. You could also use these if you were sitting down and having a conversation with yourself, basically thinking about IEP goals and thinking, okay, like I know this is a general area, but how do I actually get these objectives out? Like what are the different things that can support the student in achieving this goal? This is a great reference tool for that. And of course, you could also use them as assessments, whether it's working with a new student or baseline assessments, really any time of year, and progress monitoring. So I want to dig in and show you a closer look and talk through what this would look like. All right, so here are the different topics. Now, at first glance, you may say, oh, these really look like primary or elementary. And yes, they definitely are, but they really go far beyond that scope into social skills, life skills, functional skills, and early academics in early literacy and math. So, if you knew a student was struggling with visual discrimination, as an example, I don't write goals in that. I was writing academic goals. However, I knew that there was something going on in visual discrimination that I wanted to learn more about so I could see what's going on with the student, pinpoint those areas. You could also apply this to fine motor. I'm not an occupational therapist. However, I do know that there's some things that I can do to support students in the classroom with me in that area of fine motor. Same thing with literacy, phonemic awareness, phonics, things like that. If phonics are breaking down, you could reference the phonemic awareness and see, oh, is there one area that the student is doing so well in that we can build success upon? Or is there one area that's like, wow, I did not realize that was happening? Yes, this is phonemic awareness, but it's impacting so much farther past that. All right, so that's the idea beyond why I created these checklists. Now, let me show you a much closer look. All right, so this one is sequencing. On the left-hand side in the purple, you can see as it's written in a reference list format. So these are the ones I would put into the binder, take to the meetings, guide the conversation, reference when I'm trying to find out more of what's going on. So you can see all of the concepts written out. They are written in chronological order. However, we also know students can hop, skip, jump all over. So yes, you could go from top to bottom vertically and go through those different areas, but also take that with a grain of salt. Now, This is going to help me pinpoint exactly like what objectives I could write if I was working on sequencing skills with a specific individual student. On the right-hand side, you can see the exact same thing, but written in a progress monitoring checklist format. Up at the top, I have student identification information. That's where I put the student initials, assessed by, there's my name. And then on the right-hand side, I have the topic, and that's on for all of these checklists. And the bottom, or right below where it says sequencing skills, there's a blank spot. I know at my school we had to write different things, whether it was the school year or whether it was student ID number, date of birth, grade level, all of different things. So I left that open for you. I should also mention that these are in PDF format, so you can just hit print, but they're also in PowerPoint format. So you could freely edit these, change them up. You could just use them to type into before you print to send home. That's the option for you. I most likely would just print these and keep them on a clipboard. And then you can see how I did a sample of filling it out. This assessment was done informally. It was done on September 20th. I used a variety, check marks, X's, accuracy, 3 out of 5, 1 out of 5, not applicable, and things like that. If I was working with sequencing, I may definitely know some of these different areas, but some of them I would have no idea, or at least not the continuum of how it progresses. If I knew my student was able to repeat a sequence, recognize a sequence, but struggling to put things in a sequence, okay, that gives me an area to work on. If they were able to do that, I could keep moving down that continuum. Remember that example of phonemic awareness. We, for some reason, the school I worked at did not do a strong phonemic awareness program for several years. And the assessment program that we used, which you could probably guess the name of it, was really phonics based or decoding. And we had students like not making progress, just working over again, not making progress. And then we adopted a different assessment tool that really drilled down on phonemic awareness before phonics. Whoa. We adopted this. I was working with first graders. It was great because I could easily like fill it in. We brought out Haggerty. We did a lot of work in those areas. And wow, it had such a big impact. However, when we adopted this, we also noticed that there were third graders that had these phonemic awareness gaps. And that was on us, right? We weren't addressing them. We weren't necessarily aware of them. That's what I think of using these checklists for, opening up those areas to see where can we intervene? Where can we help with? And what kind of difference that could make. All right. So I think that explains it a little bit better. I would definitely recommend printing out the reference sheets and the checklists. The reference sheets can go into your meeting binder. The checklists can go into a data binder so that you can drill down a little bit more, tease out different scenarios when you're working and getting to know a student better. You know that there's maybe a processing issue, but not exactly sure where it lies. Any of these areas that are on these basic skills topic list, you can get more information about with your students. So that is why I created that. I hope that was helpful and explained it probably better than this blog post. I still will link this up because I think it has some good information. If you are a instructional coach or admin, you can also take a look at this blog post and see where you can support staff. If you are a first year special educator or maybe very, very experienced educator, you already know how these can help you for sure because you're in it every day. All right. Thanks so much for listening. I will put the link in the description. Let me know if you have any questions. I would be happy to jump back on here and answer more. And then there's also a link where you can get a closer look at all of the different images, and that is in the blog post as well. All right. Thanks so much for listening. Be sure to hit subscribe and let me know of future topics you're interested in learning more about. All right. Thanks so much.